Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here and welcome back to another Ninjago discussion video here on the channel. In today's video we're going to be going over the 10 problems that I personally have with Ninjago. Now these are not in any particular order, much like some of our other ranking videos that we've been doing lately. These are just 10 things about Ninjago that I don't really like personally and that I think could be improved for the better. Now do keep in mind, I do believe that a lot of you guys will not agree with everything on my list, and that's perfectly okay. Ninjago is not perfect though by any means, and in this video my goal is not to go ahead and basically belittle Ninjago because of these flaws, but basically point them out, and maybe we can actually improve on these later on if more people start to recognize these. And again, this is just related to the Ninjago TV show and towards these sets, so I'm not going to be talking about any community issues or anything like that, even though there are a lot of community issues with the Ninjago. That's not really going to be in this video. I'm just going to be focusing on the actual show and the Ninjago sets associated with the show. And again, these are not actual things that I hate necessarily. These are just a few nitpicks that I have about the entire series overall. I've been following Ninjago since the beginning, so I think I'm more than qualified to go ahead and bring up these things that really don't, appease me too much, and some things that really just bother me throughout the show. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Again, I have 10 of these, and let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. So the first nitpick that I'm going to be bringing up is the topic of the reflections not meaning anything anymore. So basically, I think it's safe to say that the Season 5 reflections in which the ninja actually saw, their futures, they really don't matter necessarily anymore. I mean, they were direct, results of the future. They were direct, visions of the future. But considering the ninja no longer look like their older selves, as they all have redesigns, some of us in the community might think that maybe these reflections don't mean as much as they, meant right off the bat when they were introduced. I mean, I have been obsessed with these reflections ever since we saw them, but that's just a problem with shows in general that try to give a flash forward of the future and things like that, because then you have to go ahead and organize the show to follow through with all of the reflections and things like that, and follow through with those future events that have already been set up. And Ninjago seems to be departing away from that, from what I can tell, and they've kind of been just, making their own thing as they go along. They haven't really been sticking with those future reflections, and while that is admirable of them to do, I don't really think it follows the actual, requirements and guidelines set up from the reflections. So in my opinion, I don't really think they matter anymore. Next up, we have the concept of bad jokes. So yeah, Ninjago has a lot of these. I've started to notice it more and more within seasons 8, 9, and 10. Specifically with season 9, I thought that maybe the jokes could have been toned down a little bit. And let's be honest, it's just Dareth. It's Dareth's fault. He's the one that actually causes all of this. All of the other ninja have, one-liners and things like that that are kind of, cheesy to say the least, but at least they're not downright annoying like Dareth is. I can't really take his character seriously. I never really took him seriously to begin with, but he really doesn't appeal to me that much, honestly. I mean, he's kind of not my favorite character. He's probably one of my least favorite characters throughout the entirety of Ninjago as of this point, because of how many, terrible jokes and bits of dialogue do follow through with his character, and that is a direct result of the writing there. I understand Ninjago is a kids show by definition, and you got to have the jokes be toned down a little bit and have them be a little bit more obvious, but for something such as Ninjago that has such an active fan base, especially with the older audience, maybe toning them down would be a good thing. The next thing here are the retcons. So if you guys don't know what a retcon is, basically it's a concept in entertainment where something in the history of the show is changed to benefit something in the present. So for Ninjago, it would be something like a villain being here the entire time that we really didn't know about. Ninjago has a lot of these, and the point is, a lot of these are done right. Let me just give credit where credit is due. A lot of the retcons, such as, again, the villain origins, are done right, and they actually do, increase the overall quality of the world through construction and things like that. But some things and some other retcons are kind of just annoying and really don't make a lot of sense. I mean, sometimes the history of Ninjago does not line up. Sometimes the timeline is all over the place. Like, how long was it between the Serpentine War and the present day? I'm not sure anybody could give a solid number to that, just because of how many things have happened in between then and now that sort of conflict with each other and sort of mess up the entire history of Ninjago as it is. Again, a lot of things aren't really as solid as I would like them to be, but that's okay. I mean, a lot of the retcons are, again, done with utmost quality, such as all of the villain origins again, and I'm sure in Season 11 we'll finally get some insight as to where the Pyro Snakes were and where the Ice Samurai were this entire time, so I'm sure that'll be answered as well. But sometimes the retcons really don't work out for me personally, so that's why it's on the list here. Next up, we have the construction of poor villains. Now, I've always been a firm believer of the statement, a story is only as good as its villain, so when Ninjago has a poor villain, the story really kind of suffers from that. Some notable examples would be during Day of the Departed. While that did feature basically every Ninjago villain under the sun, not all of them were done, with actual quality in mind. A lot of them just seemed to be added just for the sake of adding them. Some other examples of poor villains, in my opinion, would for sure be some of the Sons of Garmadon. They really don't stand out to me personally. The Iron Baron especially, and some of these Serpentine characters during Season 1. If you don't flesh out the villains very well, then your actual story will suffer as a result. And I think Ninjago has seen its fair share of that. Not everything in Ninjago is, great by any means. Some things are really bad, and 9 times out of 10, those bad things will be because of the poor villain, at least in my opinion. Next up, we have the issue of side characters being written out of the show for no good reason. So a lot of side characters really just come and go throughout Ninjago. It's sort of just a common rotation at this point. Like at this point, I doubt we will ever see Rei and Maya ever again, Kai and Nia's parents. They were prevalent during Season 7, and I thought maybe they would stick around throughout the actual series going forward, but during Season 8, they just vanished for no reason whatsoever. We still don't really know where they went. I mean, I don't think anybody has a solid answer to where they actually went, that's actually been incorporated into the show and not said by somebody on Twitter. But overall, guys, a lot of side characters really just kind of, again, just come and go without any explanation whatsoever. They only pop up when they're needed, and in my opinion, that really isn't fair to those characters. And maybe Ninjago should tone down the side characters. I mean, we do know that there are more coming in Season 11, and I worry that after Season 11, those specific side characters probably will not be around in the series for much longer. I mean, some of these characters are just really well written, and it's a shame that they're actually being taken out of the story in favor of adding more characters that will in turn be taken out of the story following the next season. So again, I really don't like that very much, and it's definitely one of my least favorite things about Ninjago. Next up, we have the lack of consistency, specifically with the ninja. So the ninja's powers go all over the place in terms of actual, power level and actual abilities, things like that. Like the ninja don't know air jitsu anymore, apparently, even though they learned it during Season 5. And there are many moments throughout Ninjago, onward, especially during Seasons 8, 9, and 10, where air jitsu could have definitely been used to solve a problem, such as in March of the Oni, where Cole falls off the Destiny's Bounty. If he would have just air jitsu'd up to the top again, he would have been fine, but for the sake of realism, air jitsu was removed during Season 8 and onwards. However, we still had spin jitsu, so really not sure what that's about there, but I guess that's something that we have to accept at this point. But the ninja's powers jump all over the place sometimes, and it seems like they're only as powerful as the story wants them to be. So if the story wants them to be insanely powerful, they will be, and if the story wants them to basically take a step back, then that will happen as well. Next up, we have an issue that I personally have with the Ninjago sets, and that is specifically not including the full version of every ninja in the sets. So what I mean by this is sometimes you'll get a set, right? You'll get a Ninjago set that has a ninja figure in it. However, the figure will be missing something very important, whether it be their mask or their shoulder armor, things like that. We don't really get the full armored up versions of the ninja unless it's a really expensive set normally, which is really kind of a shame, because for those people like me that just simply want to collect the figures and nothing more, it's really hard to do, especially considering how, frequently Ninjago sets do this. I mean, it's kind of annoying when you think about it. Some of the legacy sets have done a pretty good job at sort of not allowing this to happen, as the ninja suits for the wave have been really simplified, to say the least. But other Ninjago sets, such as the ones coming out in Season 11, for example, some of the smaller ones don't really include the full versions of the overall suited up ninja for whatever reason, and I really think that needs to stop. I haven't been able to find an actual reason as to why this happens. It just kind of happens, and I really don't like it. So if we could stop that, that'd be great. I mean, it helps out with collectors and even younger Ninjago fans that can't really afford the bigger Ninjago sets. They're out of luck because, they really can't get those bigger sets that have the full-on Ninjago minifigures in them. And those people might not be aware of things like Bricklink, where you can easily order parts and things like that. So it's just easier for everybody if LEGO actually includes the full-on ninja suits in each set for each ninja. Next up here, we have the confusion with the overall lore of the series. So again, much like my earlier segment in this video about the retcons being added to Ninjago left and right, a lot of things just don't make sense and it confuses the audience because the show doesn't actually provide an explanation for these things. They just kind of happen, and we're left to resort to people on Twitter that work on the show to go ahead and solve the problems for us. And I really don't feel like that needs to be necessary. If your show cannot go ahead and properly, correlate to the audience what's actually happening, then the show's not doing a very good job at actually, applying history towards the overall series. I mean, if we have to go on Twitter to find answers, that's not going to be cutting it for the most part. When I watch something, I expect all the answers to be there. I mean, that's just how you make a movie or a TV show. That's just how you do it. You don't go ahead and have the audience go find answers elsewhere. And a lot of times that leads to Ninjago fan theories and things like that to try to fill in the gaps, because sometimes not everything works in terms of the actual show and everything being actually implemented into the show. Sometimes some things just don't make sense, and I really don't feel like going on Twitter to find out why that is, while the show could easily have explained it to me. Next up, we have a minor nitpick here. I've seen this going around the community a lot lately. Some people are mad that Lloyd and Kai have gotten the majority of the spotlight throughout Ninjago's run. I mean, yeah, they are the two main characters, but I kind of agree, because just because Kai and Lloyd are the main characters, that doesn't really mean that other ninja can't hold the spotlight. Even Garmadon could hold it, if he really wanted to. Garmadon could run a season on his own, and I think it's fair to give other ninja a chance. I mean, every ninja has had their time to shine at least once throughout the entire run of Ninjago, but I feel like Kai and Lloyd get it the most, and that's definitely apparent with these sets and with the actual show itself. Again, just a minor nitpick on that one. I'm not too hung up on this, but my next one, this one is one that I have a really big problem with. So basically the last one that we're going to be talking about here, again, it might seem kind of ridiculous, but it's basically the fact that the final battle is not the final battle. So the final battle between good and evil, the ultimate Spinjitzu Master versus the Overlord, was the conclusion of the second season of Ninjago. Am I the only one that sees a problem with that? I mean, especially, it made sense back in the day because Ninjago was going to be ending after season 2. That made sense. That was a very good conclusion to Ninjago, and I would have thought that would have been a better conclusion to Ninjago if that was actually the conclusion, now that we have several more seasons under the show's belt. There have been multiple seasons since that initial season finale during, I think it was 2012 when that came out. Again, it's 2019 now, so we have had 7 more years of Ninjago content to be added, and the final battle, the ultimate climax between the good and evil struggle throughout Ninjago, having that be the conclusion to the second season of Ninjago really doesn't cut it for me personally. I mean, especially a battle of that length and that magnitude and that dynamic of a scale probably should have been saved for the very end. Again, it made sense during the time because that was, at the time, the final Ninjago season, but now that we've had multiple other seasons since then that carry over the same story, I really don't feel like that original final battle really has its place in Ninjago anymore. It's still going to be one of my favorite things about the show, don't get me wrong, but I would have actually preferred it if it was the final solid conclusion to the overall story. Again, that is just a very specific nitpick on my part, but it's something that's always bothered me, and has anyone else been bothered by that, or is it just me? Because it really bothers me for some reason, and I can't go ahead and shake that. So once again, I don't hate Ninjago by any means. If I hated Ninjago, I would not be doing videos about it, but I can admit that some things about Ninjago don't really make much sense to me personally, and a lot of things could be better. So this video's purpose was just to go ahead and point out those negative things, and basically start a discussion about that. What do you guys think could have been improved about Ninjago, and what are some things about Ninjago that you personally do not like? Feel free to leave all your thoughts down below in the comments section. With that being said, guys, that'll just about do it for this video here. Thank you so much for watching this one. If you enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up rating, and of course, remember to hit the subscribe button if you've not done so already. Once again, guys, the comment section is yours for the various discussions that you would like to have regarding this topic, or if you just had a comment of a general nature, that's fine as well. In the description, you will find the links again towards my other forms of social media, whether it be my Twitter, my Instagram, my Patreon, or my merch. Be sure to support me on all those platforms if you would like to. With that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video yet again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that, I bid you farewell.